type 1 diabetes is the same person, whether living in Kuwait or the US or the Middle East or anywhere else.
So first of all, Ebaa and Donna, both of you, it's honestly a pleasure. I was telling, I don't know, I think at least have told 5 different people separately that besides the professional relationship that we are building in this workshop collaboration, it's also the personal relationship. I met both of you for the first time earlier this year in Kuwait, away from the US, even though I'm sure you and I could have connected, but I've never been to Louisiana and I had never been to Kuwait. So it's honestly a pleasure. And I think the finding out that your friendship is much older than one event, one exact workshop, I think that makes it really something that we would love to highlight for others to hear why projects like this matter. You have been working, do you want to briefly introduce yourself, Donna? Why don't you start? Just something simple.
Well, first of all, let me say the feeling is mutual. Yeah, I'm very happy to have a new friend in you. But my name is Dr. Donna Ryan, and I'm Professor Emerita at the Pennington Biomedical Research Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
And I'm so excited to be with you here. So thank you so much for the invitation and what you have done. And we're really lucky to have you as a new colleague and a friend and much more. So my name is Dr. Ebaa Al Ozairi. I'm the Chief Medical Officer at the Dasman Diabetes Institute in Kuwait.
Great. And because your friendship is so old, I'm just curious, do you have a quick story in mind where a collaboration, a partnership really changed the scope of your work or the results that you could have achieved would not have been possible alone? It could be something in the US, it could be with a potentially an international collaborator, but anything that comes to mind from your whole careers, where like, honestly, without collaboration, that would not have been possible.
Absolutely. You know, so after I retired from an active career at the university, I volunteered and was elected to be the president of World Obesity Federation. And through that, we decided that we really wanted to expand the scope of obesity organizations from around the world. And we targeted the Middle East. And so through a series of meetings over there, I met Ebaa, and we did some joint schools together, something that we call scope schools, which is about education in obesity. And I was so impressed with her knowledge and her ability to communicate and so forth. I put her up to be a member of the clinical committee that develops all of the education for the World Obesity Federation, and then just got to know her more and more, and am so impressed with how effective she is. You know, some people are good at talking, some people are good at action, and she definitely makes things happen.
That's amazing. We need people who make things happen. There's a lot of people who talk, but I think there's only a few who can make. Ebaa, what comes to your mind?
I think we're really lucky to have Donna in the region, not only, you know, for Kuwait, but for the whole region. You know, obesity really is the highest among, you know, the Middle East, but also in the Gulf. And there has not been a single school or any activity from the World Obesity Federation prior to Donna becoming the president in the Gulf region. Not only that, Donna brought us together, but we created a whole, forum together that now we have established our own, chapter of the World Obesity called, the obesity in the MENA region and the Gulf region. And that's bringing really the leaders among, the different countries, putting things together so that we came together and put the first guidelines of obesity treatment, between the Gulf and Lebanon, and then moved to a lot of educational activities and really making people aware that obesity is a disease, is no longer a lifestyle that you would eat less and move more, educating the public, educating, the healthcare professionals, and holding the first, activity that was targeted as well to the people living with obesity. So really trying to form the whole, universe together. Not only that, how we can move the education a level forward. So in all of the Middle East and in, other countries, we do not have a certification for people to become experts in obesity. That's only open in the US or in the European country. So then after I joined, the committee, and then I became the co-chair and the chair of the clinical care committee, we have set up the whole exams to be forward and how we can really set it up to standards with all the experts around the world. So, it's great to have Donna as an example, and also as a great mentor, as a really, a great person to take things forward. And she is really a believer in empowerment of women. So, and that's really needed, among the Gulf and the Arab region. And if you see, most of the leaders, will always have the men's backup, they're always our colleagues, but to bring them up in a leadership positions, you couldn't have seen this without Donna.
Listen, you see from what she's saying, Komal, the talent was already there. I just found it. I found a lot of people who were engaged in diabetes care and research, and sort of recruited them into this obesity project. And they were very natural in embracing it and moving it forward. That the talent was there. It was already there. Yeah.
That's a very important point, and I think that's, even regardless of the topic, I keep hearing that someone has to have that vision to see the talent. There's so many places in the world beyond Kuwait where there is immense talent just sitting, waiting to be explored. There are people who may not have the infrastructure to help. And I think obesity is a place where, US and Middle East are both struggling, and people like you doing active work, but from a patient-centered point of view, I think that's what's unique from the examples you brought on. It's not just telling people, oh, you're eating more, eat less, and everything will be fine. No, it's looking from the patients and educating, women empowerment. These are all concepts that probably now look cool, but when you all started, it took a lot of, friction. And on this topic of friction, something that comes to mind, maybe on paper it sounds all fun. Everyone should collaborate, work across discipline, across regions. But there has to be challenges. There must be frictions that you have encountered. And maybe you have a way to, or maybe in your experiences, you saw something like, this is an example where I was able to overcome through this strategy. Does something come to mind here where a challenge that's commonly, in your work that you have seen, maybe working with women, maybe working in the Kuwait region or in the broader Gulf, that you're like, this is what we tried, and actually, it worked, it helped. Something comes to mind.
Yeah, Komal, I think that there's a saying, if there are two people in the room, it could be love. But if there's more than two, it's politics. So I think really what politics really means to me is understanding people and where people are coming from. So I really believe in dialogue and talking and finding out where people are coming from, because that's how you really build the bridges. But inevitably, when you get a group of people together, there's going to be some politics going on. But I think it's really having the right attitude about that and moving forward despite it.
And to be honest, we're very grateful to the, this collaboration between KFAS and the National Association of Academy of the Science and Medicine. What you have done for the precision medicine, the first workshop and this second workshop, really brought us forward and opened a lot of new opportunities of how to look for the future and how to really embed this and not to have any missed opportunities. So, and this is really important, to show the collaboration, between the countries, between the scientists, how we bring people together. And as you said, there might be challenges, there might be friction, but it's our, need and time that we have to give back to the people, the patients that we're seeing every day, and what we have to do, think of them rather than think of among ourselves, what is the frictions, what are the challenges, think what I can give best back to the society and how can we help it forward. So,
I think it's just been very enriching for me personally to have friends like Ebaa and others around in that Gulf region. I've been very favorably impressed with the quality of the academics and the research that goes on over there. And, one thing that I am very envious of is the health system approach that's embedded there that we don't have in the United States.
That's one thing that comes to mind, especially because I think your topic, the work that you all do, especially in obesity, diabetes place, even those who may not have any technical understanding, they're like, oh, I know about this. I know something about it because it's so personal. I don't think I know any household which is not impacted by this, at least in the US, at least in the Middle East. And where I am from Pakistan, so South Asia, this is a very common problem. And we keep saying, oh, it's in my family. We hear this all the time, and as if that just, okay, what can I do about it? Is there something that comes to mind, maybe an area within the diabetes research or generally in the obesity, the work that you're doing, that you feel like this is not solved yet, there's no solution yet, but something that comes to mind where you're like, you know, if there was collaboration here, there was more persistent work of people across the globe working together, this could actually get solved. It's just we are not there yet.
Yeah.
Something comes to mind?
Yeah, some ideas that Ebaa has actually had. You know, one thing that happens with children who have type 1 diabetes is that they live much longer now than they did, you know, when I was young. And so they really have a whole life ahead of them. And one thing that happens is they gain weight and they develop type 2 diabetes in addition to type 1. So her interest is really in addressing weight management in children with type 1 diabetes. And she has such an opportunity there at the Dasman that is something that could sort of lead the world in a pathway, you know, a protocol for how to manage children with type 1 diabetes and who have obesity and overweight. So her ideas are very enlightened and they're very forward thinking, and so I really support her on that. I think she has an opportunity to lead the world.
That's amazing. Something about the work of the Dasman Diabetes Institute that you want to highlight.
So, you know, taking this further on, you know, what Donna has said, so we were the first group among others to really to put this review, you know, in the Lancet of Diabetes Endocrinology to address, you know, obesity in type 1 diabetes, because people often think of type 1 diabetes as a thin people. Then we really thought, okay, we need to go beyond borders. So we have put our data with Mexico, with Europe, and with the US, and compared the data, you know, on how these people are behaving. Then we have put, you know, a grant forward, and we got just recently grant from the US, from Breakthrough, you know, previously known as JDRF, really to address the whole issue of the type 1 diabetes and obesity in Kuwait and how to move things forward. Listening to the patients and really, you know, putting things back to the patients and how we can move with the new era of the new medications that we have today, of, you know, personalized medicine, precision medicine, how we can save the population better. And that's, you know, a great opportunity again. So don't give up, don't say, oh, you know, I will never win a grant in the US, the US will never, you know, give us any grants. This is a real example that the whole grant was given. This is the first ever granted from the Breakthrough JDRF to conduct a clinical trial in the Middle East, you know, just by persistence, fully funded by the US, to be done in the people of, you know, type 1 diabetes in Kuwait, representative of the different region needs. So, you know, it's just, you know, persistence, collaborations, connections, network, events like this, moving people beyond borders, thinking of our population, which does not, you know, which exists everywhere. Type 1 diabetes is the same person, whether living in Kuwait or the US or the Middle East or anywhere else. But it's us as a humans or researchers sometimes put the borders and put the restrictions that makes our life, you know, harder and less moving forward to bring people the best of the outcomes.
You know, Komal, I think the meeting this time, the tone for it was really set by the ambassador from Kuwait to the US.
The same thing. It's like how our minds are.
Yeah, she did a really great job of talking about the importance of, you know, communication among scientists and how we all need to collaborate with our research. But she really brought it home to the importance of serving the patients. I mean, that's really what we're here for. She was so eloquent and so beautiful in not only outside, but inside too. It was really wonderful.
Yeah, starting the workshop for this National Academies and KFAS, having the Kuwait ambassador, Sheikh Zain al-Sabah, I think when she's, the exact point that you're making, that the empathy is sometimes lost in these research-focused projects. And it's not, it's a human nature, you get too narrow-minded, you forget the big picture. But I think as researchers, as clinicians, we have to always, once in a while, take a step back. Why am I doing this? Is the care still there? Are we, especially if you're working across border, are you being respectful of other people's point of view? Are you being understanding that they're not coming from the same life experiences as you? And that's the only way international collaboration can work. If you're seeing eye to eye, I don't think that's realistic to assume all the time. You can't even see eye to eye in the same region, in the same city. So it's like we are all people. There are intrinsic qualities we have, but then we have to leverage, the strengths we all have. I think I'm just going to end with a note. This workshop, at least for me, I see that we are convening, we are conveners. National Academies convenes experts from not just the US, but all over the world for different activities. But the precision medicine, this collaboration with KFAS is very close to personally in my heart. Yeah. It is an opportunity to one workshop, one event, what difference can it make? The people who are meeting. I'm curious to hear from you. First of all, quickly, what is your experience in the workshop so far, but most of all, if a year from now, is there a project, is there an idea that you're like, let's take this forward? Someone has to, even if it's not you, someone should be taking this forward.
Well, I'm sure my experience is going to be replicated many times, probably by every person attending this, and that is, I have 2 new collaborators. Yeah, so I have emails already from them saying, okay, this is what I'm doing. Can we share samples? How can we work together on this? So I think that's going to, so what you've done is you've dropped a pebble in the pool, and you're going to see this ripple effect going out from that. Yeah, I've had an absolutely wonderful time. Thank you for including me.
Thank you so much.
I'm very grateful to NASEM and KFAS. This has been, an outstanding opportunity of network, and now it's time to really take it into action plans and how we're going to show the world that, this is possible to happen from a meeting, moving to a white paper, to action plans, to interventions that would really make differences in people's lives in a scientific, rigorous matter that can be, widespread. Today, with the world of AI and digital health and many more, how we can really move beyond what we have been trained, in medicine or research, and to integrate the whole technology. Very, very grateful to NASEM, very grateful to KFAS. I'm privileged to work in Kuwait at the Dasman Diabetes Institute, which is one of the subsidiaries of KFAS, and really has been, an outstanding from publications and changing care for people's health, with more than 100 publications per year, and this could not happen without the collaborations. So collaborators are really important part of this, and we really need to think how we can move from today and see the action plans together. So we're looking forward for the next year interview with more fruit that we're going to celebrate together.
We have the vision, and Ebaa, and we will make it happen somehow. We are honestly grateful for not just you, but so many people in this room who made it to the National Academies of Sciences building for this. We hope for many, many action-oriented outcomes from not just this workshop, but many more to come. Thank you both for being here. Thank you for talking to me.
Thank you.
And thank you for just being part of everything. It's these are relationships that at least I would not be forgetting for any time soon. Thank you, Ebaa. Thank you, Donna.